Well, welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to talk about a pretty neat little program. Something that, again, we've said this before, and I'm sure you've heard us say this before, but we've been doing this for so long now, close to 40 years. You think you've seen everything, then all of a sudden somebody comes around with an entirely different thought process that works wonderfully, and we say, geez, this is too simple. Why didn't we think of this before? Anyways, that's pretty much what we have here in The Power of Three by a fellow named Dan Savage. Basically, his idea, his theory, is that you can overdo research, you can overdo data research. Don't know if that's true in every area of research, but in horse racing, it certainly seems to be that way from what he showed us. He found, kind of interesting right here, interesting thing at the beginning here. It says, did you know in data research, in general, the number 3 is much more than just 1 digit higher than 2, meaning that if you have 2 data points and all of a sudden you expand it to 3, you might say, well, the results then would be 50% more accurate because you got one more race. But in reality, adding that third factor actually makes the results around 80% more accurate. So adding a third factor can make a lot of difference. And he found, again, what he was doing is, he said he's been around a long time. He says, you know what they say, many things, how things happen in threes, etc. We've all heard that. And he's convinced that there is some validity to that theory. And his theory on creating research patterns, what he would do is he'd try use 9 or 10 data points compared to using 3 or 4. And he usually found that using too many diluted the overall predictability in the racing game. It'll often include 2 more bad performances and bring the overall rating down, but usually in 3, often you'll find 3 decent plays, and if you only have 1 bad race out of those last 3, then if you have 2 good ones overwhelms the 1 bad one, where again, when you're using too many data points, things may just get totally lost in the research parameters that they're using. So that's basically his idea, and what he's done it with several different factors: recency, speed, class, running position, weight, which actually plays a pretty big role. You don't hear that much about weight anymore, but in reality, if it's used right, it is significant, especially in claiming races, low to high, mid-level claiming races, overall consistency and odds. And the results really are great. We've got an overall 36%, close to 36% win rate. And this was pretty much true at all tracks. I think the only tracks where it fell down a little were at FanDuel, but then it seems only favorites win there anyways. And for some reason, Tampa Bay, which is usually a pretty formidable track, didn't do that well with this, but all the other tracks did do well. So a 36% average win mutual of 967. And then with the actual screenshots here, we found, again, and then this is more of our research, 87% of the top players, what we call the best bets, which we explained in the manual, will get you, will run at least third, at least 87% of the time. And it's actually a percentage boxing again, as suggested, boxing the 2 horses or 3 horses hit at about 41%, and some are pretty darn good prices. So you can see here the basic layout of the screen. We've got the total column as usual. What he uses is odds track, trainer jockey, odds, speed, and there's a bunch of the other stuff that would have taken too many columns that he uses that are working in the background. And you have situations where you have 3 bottom contenders. In the best situations, again, as explained in the manual, are horses that appear at least twice. And you do get a lot of nice overlays. Here at Saratoga, I mean, here's a horse that's mentioned twice. and doesn't, yeah, it has a good 22-point total column. I mean, this horse probably should have been 4 or 5 to 1, but instead it paid $53.50. And a lot of nice payoffs between $9 and $20. Here's a horse, I mean, just a small field. Only mentioned, this is another strong factor when there's only one horse mentioned, and it also, just one horse mentioned, and it's the only one in the total column as well, then that's a very high situation. This horse paid $9. Again, $15, $14, $15, you'll get a lot of those kind of mutuals. Another situation where the horse is mentioned twice. And this one in Del Mar was just missed. It's 32 to 1, paid $19 a place. So we do recommend backing these horses up to place and show, because you will get a lot of place and a lot of show payoffs. Anyways, this is an extremely consistent program. Here's one of our testers who said his first love is consistency, and this program has it in spades. And another fellow who really liked it, and again, like most people, we only have like four or five testers these days, but they all cited the consistency and the nice average mutual. Overall, and the price, it's really priced nice. It was supposed to be $118 when we took this, and Dan said he didn't want to charge over $100. He said this is something he just does for a hobby. So we made it $88. So that's a great price. So give us a call, 1-800-696-0067, or order from our website. And thanks, and we'll talk to you next time.